Hello, viewers. This is Michael from Screen Reviews, bringing you a new podcast from my segment called the Super Sentai Review. And like always, I'm going to speak very loudly, very clearly, and very slowly, in case you don't understand it. Also, I try to do my best not to breathe so hard, not to breathe so hard, not to cause any REP record as well during this audio podcast recording as well. Anyway, and also, if you're under 18, this audio podcast recording will contain certain adult language. Once again, if you're under 18, this audio podcast recording will contain certain adult language if you're under 18. Now, if you're over 18, that means you don't have this audio podcast recording. Now, with this everything else out the way, let's get into the latest episode of Gozyuger. So basically, we see all the Rangers gathered at the cafe, and basically, the Rangers have gathered all the Sentai rings, but they need all the Sentai rings and plus the six Gozyuger rings to make a wish. So basically, only one of them can make a wish using all the Gozyuger rings in the Sentai ring. So basically, they decided to set up a tournament. The final tournament round with a final tournament round and whatnot. So basically, they started off picking the opponent. So basically, how it's gonna fight. It's gonna fight Machino, Ryoga is gonna fight Riku, and Sun Ito is gonna fight Kinjin. So basically, once the rounds were set up, so once the rounds were set up, they started which opponents are going first. So basically, Sun Tsui volunteered that volunteered that she and Kenshin wanted to go first, but Kenshin didn't want to. He got scared and went away. Meanwhile. Back later, meanwhile, the night before, we see Fire Candle, standing over the catechism, catechism general, one of the, sorry, a little tongue tied today. Anyway, we see, we go back the previous night, and we see Fire Candle standing over the body of General Battle of the Catechism, and basically over his dead body, and turns out that he actually ate part of General Bao's body, and therefore had the power of the Catechism in him. So anyway, then we cut back to that. Day, and we see Bouquet hanging out with Mr. Shiny Nights and Miss Sweet Cake at the Tegazord little hideout and whatnot. And basically, it turns out it's Lady Bouquet's day off. She went to go see Mr. Shiny. Went to go hang out with Mr. Shiny Nights and Miss Sweet Cake, along with Tegazord and whatnot. And basically, everything was going well and whatnot, and basically, and that's when Fire Candle showed up. He was like, hey, it's good to see you guys again. So anyway, the Tegazord, since that he has the power catechism in his body and whatnot, and Tegazord was like, you can't handle that power. That power will end up destroying your body. So anyway, I'm here to get down to business. So basically, what you got? Do you have anything planned for the No.1 world and whatnot? And basically, Tegazord like, I don't have anything planned for the No.1 world. So basically, No.1 world. So basically, I do. So basically, I have my plans for the No.1 world now. So basically, I'm gonna use my powers to carry on that plan. So basically, I'm here to say, you guys have been great. You guys have been great to me and whatnot, but I have my own plan. I have my own plans in motion. So anyway, and today is our friendship and whatnot between each other. We're uncut ties between you. So basically, you guys are know with my friend and comrade. So basically, Bouquet, you know. Bouquet tried to stop Fire Candle, and basically Fire Candle's like, well, don't. Well, let's take this day to get our, let's take the day to remember this moment that, I came here to cut ties and whatnot, but, the next time, the next time we meet, we will be envious, but today we're gonna, let's just say this is the last time we will be friends, and basically Fire Candle left and whatnot. So anyway, meanwhile, somewhere on the beach, Kenjin was basically was basically on the beach speaking about his upcoming battle with Eno and whatnot, and basically Mr. Shiny Eyes and Miss Sweet Cake was there, on the beach, whatnot, and basically, he was, he didn't want to fight because he still has to figure out what it is to be a true party person yet, and also he doesn't want to feel bad if he does win the battle. He doesn't want to hurt doing to wake her sister up, wake her sister up, she doesn't want to feel, Kitty doesn't want to feel bad to her, stopping her for wishing for to wake her sister up from the coma and whatnot. So anyway, so basically, you need to get over this. So basically, Mr. Shyness and Miss Street Case, you need to get over this. You need to get over this, and you need to do what you got to do. So anyway. So basically they started to attack Kenjin, and Kenjin, basically didn't really fight back, but he did dodge their attacks and whatnot, and ran away and whatnot. And basically, when he ran away, he transformed back into a old man because he needs eggs to retain his young age and whatnot. So basically, once Kenjin got away from Mr. Shiny and Miss Sweet Cake, he didn't eat any eggs, and basically he transformed back into his old man form, and basically his son Tasu, I believe it's Tasu, spotted him and whatnot, and basically he went back home and whatnot. So anyway. So basically, Kitchen's afraid that, I went to, I've been on a trip to gain more knowledge and whatnot, tell his son and grandson that, I went on a trip to gain more, to gain more, I've been on a trip to gain more knowledge and whatnot. So anyway, Kitchen's son was about to tell him about his grandson going to a art school and whatnot, and basically that's what Kitchen, but his grandson stopped his father from telling Kitchen that he's going to an art college and whatnot, but he figured because Kenjin didn't approve of his grandson doing art and whatnot, but Kenjin remember what he said, and tell his grandson if you want to do art, then go ahead and do it to yourself and whatnot. And so basically gave him the words of encouragement to continue his art in college and whatnot. And basically Kenjin hanged out with his son and grandson that whole night, and the next day, Mr. Shiny Knife and Mr. Shiny Knife and Miss Shuka shut up with some eggs, and basically Kitchen after eating some eggs, he transformed back into his young self, and basically started to break up the photo album of his wife Fuka, and basically like the whole reason the whole reason why I did this because of her, and basically like he found a hidden missing picture of him in his wife, in a flower field, and basically he's not smiling, but it says she's yeah. The back of the photo said, "You stupid fool! I always love you, no matter what, no matter what." And basically, Kenshin was like, that realized that, I kind of figure out that, what a true party person is, kind of. And basically, he went to battle some Ino, and basically while the rest of the Rangers watched. So basically, the rest of the Rangers watched the battle between Sun Ino and Kenjin for their Sentai rings and whatnot. And basically, Fire set up with different foot soldiers, with his new catechism power, he could summon different foot soldiers from different past Sentais and whatnot. And basically, the other Rangers kept Fire and the different foot soldiers from not interrupting Kenjin and battle and whatnot between them for their Sentai rings. So basically, Firecracker used his new catechism powers to summon some past foot soldier mechas and some giant foot soldiers as well. And basically, Machino and Goodburn took care of the giant foot soldiers and the foot soldier mechas and whatnot. And while the other one just took care of the small foot soldiers from interfering with Kenjin and Sun battle. So basically, the battle is about the battle between Kenjin and Sun which reached the climax, and basically they did use some Sentai ring to transform. So basically, Kenjin used the Kyuja ring, and Sun used the Mega Ranger ring to transform and whatnot. And basically, the battle was like so basically they de-transformed from their different ranger so basically they transform back into their basic ranger forms, and basically with their last attack using their main weapons being the Eagle Shooter and the Unicorn Drill, they channel all their powers into a final attack and ended up winning the battle and whatnot. So basically, Kenjin lost all his Sentai rings and his Gozyuger ring to some Ino, and basically some Ino was like is there another way to even though I won, I don't take any satisfied in this victory, but it can say well, you should be happy. You're one step to getting your sister back. So basically, Kintu said, I have no right to listen to you. Anyway. So basically, we see Kenton back on the beach with Mr. Shine Knife and Miss Sweet Cake, about him holding the picture of him and his wife, thinking that I will party, Kenton explaining himself to Mr. Shine Knife and Miss Sweet Cake, and Hal was there as well. So basically, Hal, and basically, Kendra said a true party person will I figure out what a true party person is, kind of. So a true party person will enjoy anything, will enjoy any opportunity to be happy in life. So basically, I need to. I had not given up my dream to be a true party person, but I need to enjoy the little and I need to enjoy being happy in my lifetime and whatnot. So anyway, how Mr. China and Miss Sweetcake was like, all right then. So anyway, so basically, Kinja has not guaranteed to be a true party person and whatnot, and basically the episode ends with all four of them walking off the beach to have an egg eating party, and that's how the episode ended with all four of them walking off the beach together, having an egg party and whatnot, and basically that's how the episode ended on this note. So anyway, so basically we got two more battles to go, and a few more episodes to go of this Gozyuger. So anyway, what do you guys think about the latest episode of Gozyuger? Good, bad, or just okay? Please let me know in the comments below. Anyway, signing off from Screen Reviews 1.